That's it. We're live. That's it, folks. That was my bad not having the camera hooked up right. This is our second attempt. Okay, here we are. I'm with my brother Ben. I'm Joe.
Nice to see you guys.
I was
Ben
trying. I was
is my brother
exploring how to
Joe.
get him to be. Yeah. Hey, hey Ben, who's in charge of the show anyway? Because you're bigger than me, and I feel like you're. I feel like you're the main event. When I look
Well,
at
yeah.
Mm.
Joe and I are already trying to sort out a thing this morning. You know, you can't tell we're brothers.
Yeah, that's true. I want everybody to know that I've reused this cup a lot. I have environment guilt because I'm drinking this on a video. I have this disposable cup, but I reuse these a lot. I put my own
Environment guilt
coffee
is
in
the worst.
it.
Oh,
It's a real thing.
nothing. There's no better way to start your Saturday than being sad about why your existence is making things hurt.
That's it.
For
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a good entry to our subject. We're going to talk about what things are about, but we don't know what things are about. Really, we're fumbling.
no. Well, you know, the wonderful thing is that you know, what things are about are what you say they're about. You know. So
Okay, how do you get there in a video? How do you get there? Like I notice when I watch a movie, there's certain kinds of movies where I'll say, "Oh, that's so fake." But there's other kinds of movies where I don't care if it's fake; it doesn't matter because something in the movie tells me that it doesn't have to. So what is that cue that tells you what you should expect?
you know, people are just really interested in stories. You know, they just love to follow a pattern, as we talked about. You know, like last week.
All right.
And so stories, they give people a sense that a thing is about to happen because they've seen a couple of other things happen in just a way where that means therefore, you know, I can expect a thing. And
Yeah.
so, you know, we're just
Yeah.
so enraptured with stories. You know, we just respond to them in a visceral way.
Well, like a sci-fi genre, for example, a sci-fi genre, if it offers a bunch of scientific explanation to make it more believable, but then that explanation doesn't line up, it kind of kills energy in the you're like, yeah, it was all right. You do that. So what
Yeah.
is the deal?
Yeah, well, there's such a thing as chaos, and there's such a thing as organization. And you know, I tend to think that we're more interested in seeing things becoming organized because that's not natural. Or, you know, like I like things being more chaotic is more
Yeah.
is more natural. So whenever like things start to take shape, whenever things make sense, you know, whenever
Yeah,
things make
totally.
sense. Ooh, eyebrows, nice. Whenever things start to make
Oh, you
sense,
can see that from there.
that's when people start to care.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So, you know, I think we lose interest when it's stupid. Long story short, you know,
Okay.
when it's
Yeah.
just absurd, when it doesn't track with reality, you know, we realize that it's fake and we're out.
That's it. Yeah. But there's some things that have a license to be fake. And so like what's the setup that gives license to be fake?
I don't know, man. Be fake if you want to be fake. I just don't like it.
Is that my brother Ben right there? Did I capture him?
I don't know. Yeah. Well,
There's
thanks
Doug.
for navigating over here, everybody, from the other side. It's great to see you. Let us know where you're from. We want to hear from you.
Yes.
Drinking coffee over here. We're painting
Just having a
pictures.
good time.
We're
Yeah.
drawing
Yeah.
stuff.
So I asked Ben a question and then I sabotaged by just turning it into a portrait
Yeah, the
session.
truth is he didn't even really care about the answer. He was just trying to give me something to do while he drew a picture of me. You know, it was a bit of manipulation because he knows I'm a soft for having a juicy nugget to chew on. So
No, actually, I genuinely wanted to hear your answer. I was the one that got distracted. I got genuinely distracted. I was like, hey, that'd be cool if I drew it. But I like the way your head was tilted.
Yeah. So what lens are you looking at it through? You know, like I'm an emotional person. So I like when things emotionally resonate. And so you know, when I hear about another person that's experiencing something like I experience that is difficult, you know,
Yeah.
it feels validating. It feels like comforting. And so when stuff is relevant to us, it's useful. When
Yeah,
it's
that totally makes
irrelevant,
sense. That
when
totally
it's
makes sense.
irrelevant, it's like, turn the page, you know, swipe right or
But
whichever
there's a
direction you swipe.
I have swiped a still drawing. Have you ever done that? Have you ever gone to a still image, like a real physical photo, and tried to pinch expand it or swipe it
Whoa.
to, dude, it's affecting us.
There's a
You know?
meme. There's a meme out there of this little kid who's like got a photo, like a Polaroid photo, and he's going,
It doesn't work. Yeah. He's
It's
disciplined.
great.
Because you
Hey,
have
what's up from Ontario, Sherry? We see you out there.
Ontario, welcome. Welcome.
And,
I can see that too. Sherry.
Good morning,
How do you say
Tyler and John.
how do you say Nanette? Is that the right way to say Nanette?
Osama, Leanne.
Welcome everybody. Good to see you here.
Sherry,
Yeah.
Round Brush, Steve, Ariella.
All right, we got some regulars in the building. Okay, Ben, here's something I want to understand for the sake of work.
Yeah.
Where is the point that you set the expectations? If I in conversation say, hey, let me tell you this one about the horse that walks into a bar, you know, blah, 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 bad jokes.
Yeah.
But you're there's an expectation set up so that what's on your radar is not, is that true? You're not even going to ask that question because of the context, right? So in a movie, if you turn on a cartoon, there's like an expectation set up. So in the genre of movies, expectations can be set up. I really loved the Truman Show because the context was set in such a way that I had expectations that were gauged to that kind of story, you know, but I wasn't asking the question, even though it was a real drama. I wasn't asking the question, could that really happen? Is that really possible? That wasn't my question in that movie, The Truman Show. So where's the part in your piece of artwork that sets up the expectations you're hoping for the viewer to have?
Yeah, you know, that's a great point. There is in a lot of stuff, gosh, you know, in music, definitely, in storytelling, in cinema, and in painting, it's effective to have setup and payoff. Setup, payoff.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, if you can delineate these two and make sure both boxes get checked, you know, a commercial, you know, the commercial you had to watch in order to become part of this live stream probably had a setup and a payoff,
Right.
you know, because you tee up a ball and then you swing at it, you know, like you don't just
Yep.
swing at nothing. And swinging's cool, but you got to have a setup to get the payoff, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I think that if you can apply that in your still work, you know, in your
Right.
visuals, that's
Well, what
really
about
cool too. And setup and payoff could look like, you know, motion. You know, like establishing where's the thing coming from, where is it going, you know, or setting up your highlights to glow by having a bunch of darkness. What in the world?
Well, I'm seeing if I can
setting up right now.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to explore the idea of setup, you know.
Yeah. So you're implying right now that something is about to happen, right? So that's a great setup.
Yeah. Well, and so that when I draw this, I don't look at it and say, you made the legs too short. You know, I don't say that.
No.
You know, that's not a thing. However, if I go like this, you know, I'm gonna go like this, and I'm gonna put a little let's do a little thing right here, right? And we're gonna go like this, put some hair on our person, put a face. Look, it's just like the simplest thing ever. Okay, we're gonna go like this, and we're gonna go like this, and then we're gonna go like this, and we're gonna make the legs short. Okay, now we've got something that feels like the uncanny valley a little bit.
Yeah. 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 The love.
You know what I mean?
Love of
The-
Uncanny Valley.
Right. And so there's a setup involved here where like
Yeah.
this does not deliver disappointment, but this one delivers some, well, we don't even have to call it disappointment, but the discrepancy is I would say I care about the discrepancy
Yeah.
in that one.
Yeah. Well, it's just the case, just kind of speaking philosophically, that things don't exist in isolation. Things exist in relationship to the
Oh.
things around them. So
Nice.
you know,
I try to use that in color all the time.
yeah, so you can't just show a thing and expect it to land. You got to show it in relationship to a setup. you
Yeah.
know?
Right. That totally makes sense. Yeah. So then
Otherwise we just don't perceive its impact, its presence. Like a sad thing's not sad if you don't set it up. Well, why is this sad? Oh, because of XYZ.
well, I think where the rubber meets the road on this for me, is I okay, I'm gonna hold that thought until I can say it right. Hang on.
Well, while you're figuring out what to say, right?
Yeah.
What's up, Leanne in Canada? We got Mavis.
Nice.
We got Adam.
Good to see everybody.
Portland. We got Tyler out here who just finished a dragon. What?
Nice. Did he share it?
Comfort zone for that kind of art. Not bad though for their first dragon.
Okay, I know what I was gonna say. Let's see the dragon, and then I'm gonna see if I can hold this thought long.
You got a dragon? That's cool.
What? Let's see it. Let's see if it's in the folder. Do you got access to that folder, Ben? I'm afraid I'll mess up something.
Tyler, there's a link, and everyone else here, there's a link in the description of this video where you can drag and drop, upload any photo you have of whatever you're working on.
It's a Google Drive folder.
Oh, check it out.
Yeah.
Tyler's already on it.
He's already on it. Okay, leave a note. Anybody putting something in there, if you leave a note with a name or something, because we don't have the ability to read, like associate our chat with this, so if you can leave any text in there for us. Oh, nice. That's the job. Yeah. Oh, Tyler's developed it some more. He worked on it. Oh, quick, nice job with the edges.
Camera real quick.
Hang on, let me full screen this. Okay, let me switch the let's change layout. Let's see if we can spotlight Ben.
Yeah, Joe, we're still looking at your whiteboard.
Oh, you are? My bad. Okay, hang on. Boom, right there. Okay. Nice work, Tyler.
Yes.
Oh man, that is cool. I see that you worked on the edges. Tyler, we talked about this. He showed this earlier, and nice. And I like the way it looks. I see this is beautifully done. This little edge on top of here. Slight gradient makes in my opinion, a world of difference to wrap the edges around three-dimensionally into that environment. Good job on the knee, the leg. It's all there. I see it. It's beautiful. Beautiful work. I love that dragon.
It's going into his grandson's nursery. He was born last Wednesday. So
whoa, nice,
Tyler.
Yeah, you're getting him started off with this. This is quite a start for a newbie, putting a big dragon.
Yeah, you want it to not be too scary or too childish either, So it's an idea of a mix with a dragon and a phoenix. So
it does. It looks like exactly that. I'd say it's a good blend of not too scary and not too childish. I think it's a good blend.
Agreed. Fascinating.
Fun. It's got a fun, fantastical vibe. I know the colors on that face. I keep trying to zoom in on my screen, but that's not going to work.
Check it out. I got you. Look.
Yeah, I want to see that face a little closer. It's really nice.
Here, let's try that. Did that work?
Yeah. No, it's still sharing the same thing. It might be the way that I have the. Well, no, that's just sharing your screen. It's good though. Oh, it's fine. You can just look at the whole picture. It's beautiful. I love the bone structure that you got in there. I wonder, Tyler, you did a little bit of studying on some bone structures, dino skulls or something. I like the layers of the design. I guess I'd like the way you designed it. That's what I'm getting at. That's cool. Here's the problem I always run into that I want to solve when I'm making up creatures with body parts that we don't see today. Is how do I make the muscles? I'm that obsessed with believability that I'm like, how am I going to make muscles on this? Because we've got the shoulder. What does it have? 2 shoulders? Does it have 2 biceps and triceps? Because we got arms up to the wings, we got arms. And then if I separate them into several muscles, then I'm thinking about the rib cage they're going to pull on and if they're going to fight each other. Like, I actually get that deep into that problem. So, I think you handled it well.
Yeah, good work, Tyler. That's rad.
Yeah, man, good job. Good job. Okay, we're gonna go back to the auto layout here. So, all right. So here's a question. Here's a concept.
Yeah.
What something's about. Remember, we were talking a lot about golden ratio and all that. Subjects that are real blurry to me, but I'm not claiming to understand. But here's something that I do notice. If I'm putting characters in a scene, yeah, I'm on the right camera. All right. Now, if I put characters like this, I'm going to put a character, and this character is just walking away. Okay, we're going to put a character that is walking away. We got an arm here. We got an arm here. We're walking away. It's, let's see if we can get just enough to get the idea. All right. We got a character. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to do better than that. Okay, let's bend down. Put a little bit of an elbow in there. Okay, there we go. A character walking. Now, I purposely put that character I do spiky hair because it's the easy, quick. I'm not prejudiced against other hairstyles. I want everybody to know that.
The spiky hair is the best. There's just no question.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you.
What's the first thing a kid does if you tell them they can do their own hair?
Yeah, it's like the rooster. Look at me.
Yeah. What do peacocks do? Come on.
Yeah. All right. So here's a scene, and in the scene, the position and the direction that this character is going creates a vibe. So I could change this. Imagine if I just shifted this character over, same position, but now I'm going to put it on this side. Right? It has a whole different message. So here, if I'm really reading into it, I'm not trying to say this is what it means. I'm just trying to say my initial reactions is when we're talking about positioning, where are you going to put something on canvas? Well, if I do this and then I put it facing this way, now I feel like what I'm supposed to think about, that expectation that's set up, is I'm supposed to be wondering about where this character is going, because that is the greatest allotment of space, is where the character is going. The canvas says it's about where this character is going. So then if I change this, and now I'm going to do my best to just put the same character right here like this. I'm going to do my same walking character like this. Okay, we're walking, and we got the hand here like this. This kind of reminds me of the old Sasquatch video. That's what I should have done. I should have learned how to draw that.
Derail Mural Joe. Just ask him his thoughts on Sasquatch.
Yeah, this feels awkward for one thing, because I went way over. I didn't go to that. This is also a good example of toying around with that ratio. At the 1/3 mark, it has it still is part of the main event. But look, here we're over at the 1/4 mark, approximately, a little further. And it's dude, that's way off.
Yeah. We associate space and taking up space, the allocation of space, with importance.
Yeah.
That which is important takes up space.
But if I did this,
so
okay,
you're allocating importance here by what space you assign to what objects, and how large or what they're doing,
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to put a bunch of cubical objects in here in a pile, because we need something in this picture that is in the about zone. It's in the what this is about zone. Okay, now we actually have a real scene, right? You agree? Because it's now this person, it's about.
I hate those blocks. I want nothing to do with that pile of blocks.
Okay.
I'm over it.
I'm gonna run with that, man. We're gonna go like this.
That's it. That's it. I'm over it.
They don't work.
They will not stay stacked up. I hate Jenga.
We're not doing that. Yeah, I hate Jenga. It's dumb. Okay, but in the first one, it was really about I do these extremes, so it helps me understand by doing obvious extremes, you know. The one was about I'm wondering all about where the character's going. Now I'm wondering all about what the character's leaving, right? Because that's like the allotment. So then let's reverse it. Let's experiment. I just think this is a fun experiment. I don't really know all the answers to it, but I know that these all have really distinct mood changes. Okay, so now we're putting the same character. Okay, we're going to go like this. All right, here's the hand. Now we're putting the position forward. Okay, now the person is coming this way. And so now this has, again, a distinct feel. So now we're at this position where we're hanging here. We're witnessing the arrival instead of wondering. So it's a different vibe. What do you think about that?
I mean, I was just recalling that there is a theory in visual design that there's an order in which you look at things when you look at things.
Okay.
You know, you that being you look in the center of a thing and then you spiral outward and to the right. And so like that's how you very quickly scan something with your brain. It happens.
Okay.
So you can have your setup existing along that path and then your payoff further down that path. So it's like you see the one object, you know, you see the pile of bricks first, and then as you spiral outwards in a clockwise direction, you see your person, and now you have a relationship of person to object. Now you have a story. Now it's about something. It's not just an inanimate object nowhere that doesn't matter, you know.
Okay, I don't know any of this, but I'm questioning if that's true. Okay, there's a lot of theory that's kind of based on that. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I've seen the divine ratio thing.
Maybe it's put it this way: it's the difference between what is this and I'm out of here and not interested. You know,
yeah, that's a good summary. I just wonder, is that one of those ideas that somebody wanted to sound really smart?
Yes.
Came up with, you know, like the whole spot. We look here, then we spiral out. Because when I'm out in traffic, what I think the truth is where consequences are, right? We find the truth when we find consequence. We find like mental, you know, just kind of getting off on your own ideas. We find that when there's not consequence. So when I'm out in traffic, I don't feel like my eyes are always doing this in order to find what's important. You know?
Well, you know, it's probably falls in the category of theory, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's my skepticism. I'm just expressing my skepticism.
You know, it's a bone to chew on. Maybe
it is. Okay. Well, so to me, this is helpful because I did a picture where I did a couple of dolphins. You know, it's on YouTube. It's how to paint an underwater scene, and so I noticed that when I put these dolphins, I'm going to do like a quick layout. I put them in this kind of a position right here. We got a dolphin there. Let's put its little doodad right there. Okay, that's a dolphin swimming away. See, I've got it over here. And I liked the way it gave me a strong sense of like exploration. I liked, there was a sense of wonder in my picture when I positioned it that way that I was really attracted to. So I'll just leave it at that. I was really attracted to it. I thought, wow, this is a cool concept because positioning them just to the right or in the center didn't have the same flow. You know, I liked the way it felt when it was kind of all about where they were headed to. And then I just put some little bits of eye candy to fill out the corner, like, oh yeah, they just left the beach. So you can see that, see what I'm talking about. this was somewhere where I really put thought, and it seemed to work out. Although I don't think I could articulate all the nuances about it. But this, so like, there's kind of those four. I would set up four categories, not the four categories, just four helpful categories that that picture could be in, where you have character walking away, and the away is the majority. Character walking away, and the way is the minority of the canvas. Those are two. And then, of course, flip-flop it. Character walking toward, and the arrival is the majority. Character walking toward, which we didn't draw. Let's experiment with that one. Character coming toward us. Okay, we're going to put the character walking toward us like this. All right. And just having a good day, enjoying the weather.
Yep, that's some kick in your step, I can tell.
Yeah.
Nice.
Looking up at the sky, smiling. And that
Everything's going my way.
Totally. Snapping the fingers. Wait.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Hold on.
Did you die? Day?
There you go. Snapping the finger.
Yeah,
all right, and it's over here. So this says mission accomplished, right?
Yeah.
Because where this person came from is satisfactory.
Body language.
Yeah, but is it like there are these four distinct categories of setup that I just noticed them. They're just kind of patterns that stand out to me. So I'm totally open to further exploration, but so then what if we do this? What if we put a cityscape right here in the background? He's getting out of the city.
Got a story.
Yeah. Woo, like this, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it happens again, because it's now a relationship between two things, not just
Yeah.
a thing by itself.
Tell me how this changes the story if we go like this.
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of questions now. Mavis wants to know, how did he lose his nose?
There you go. Now what is the story?
Like, maybe he got blasted off in the nuclear war. But
Yeah.
it's like, hey,
What's that?
better to lose your nose in the initial blast.
Yeah. But it's clearly about something. One thing that we can be certain of is that there's an element of story in it, right? Which isn't the right. It seems to me like we could.
It's giving Oppenheimer vibes right now.
Totally. Hang on.
That black
Forgive
red
me for
hat.
doing this. Forgive me for this. Just wiping this off.
No,
Sorry.
that's cool. That's the magic of live television. You go right ahead, Joe.
I want you to feel like we're just. It's real. We're gonna be real. Okay.
Yeah, you just became overexposed too, which is fun.
I know. Why did it do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, it's adjusting. It's adjusting.
It'll figure it out.
I always want to steer away from this is what you should do with your artwork. I like studying cause and effect. If you make it about something, so you can just do a square frame with an onion in the middle and just write the word onion, and maybe Olive Garden will hang that because they're like, that's just what we need.
We have onions.
And it works good for artwork decorating a kitchen, right? It's like, it's got a vibe.
Yeah, onions are a thing.
It's about that. There's no question what it's about in that case.
Yeah, I mean, unless you are projecting, something onto that onion, at which point you become the thing the onion has a relationship to, and now there's a reason for it to matter. But yeah, onion, just an onion.
Here's the question.
I'm not interested.
Is there a place for art that is truly about nothing? What if you had the task of making art that was about nothing, but the rule is you have to put material on the canvas. You can't cheat by just using a blank canvas and saying it's about nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have to make it about, how would you make something about nothing? random lines, maybe like, but then someone's gonna see something in those lines and they're gonna drink a glass of wine and say, "I'm buying it for $1 million."
You're gonna say, "Hell yeah, Joe, you get it, dude.
You get. I'm not even sure if it's possible to make something about nothing.
Mavis actually has an onion painting in her kitchen, so our bad.
Yeah, right. I'm
Enjoy
glad I
your
didn't.
onion
I'm glad I didn't come out and say, "Now just imagine if you did something so ridiculous." I
Yeah.
suppose we should paint something.
Yeah. Well, Round Brush Steve says art rules are boring. Like, can
Yeah.
art have rules? There's an interesting philosophical question. Can
Yeah.
art have rules?
Oh, yeah. Well, yes, it can. You just have to think about the consequence of those rules. I mean, they're imposed. They're imposed.
I like that. You can have freedom of speech. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what you say can get you punched in the mouth.
That's well said. That's right. It can indeed. Yeah. So rules are like, to me, the best definition for a rule is if A, then B. If this happens, then this. Like if then relationships are the best rules.
Yeah, there you go.
Most
Relationship
helpful.
rules.
Yeah. Instead
when you
of
poke a beehive, they'll want to sting you.
And I like I like to live. I don't like to live life in the realm of thou shalt. I like to live life in the realm of ifest thou.
Yeah, right. It's not is it right or wrong to use yellow at that moment in your work. It's not about is it right or wrong or any of that. It's about, is it, what they say in film, and it's the most squishy Hollywood garbage ever, but they say
and now I gotta hear it after that setup.
They say you have to make it work.
Yeah, right? That's super helpful. That is super helpful.
You have to make your thing work, so
make your
it's
thing
just
work.
about, does your decision contribute to the success of your goal?
Yeah. Dude, what are we gonna paint, Ben? I didn't make a plan for what to paint.
Let's look at your canvas real quick. I think if we look at your canvas,
it's white. It's just blank.
That's okay. Yeah. So
what do you think?
We've been talking a lot about relationships and how, things by themselves are not really things. So let's put two things together that are not like each other at all. Let's create a lot of difference between them.
I like that. I like the direction.
Illustrate a lot of dramatic contrast.
Yeah. Okay.
So story and conflict are obvious.
Yeah. Okay, thing one. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, no. And Mavis has got an interesting thing here. Rules are just are they just suggestions? I always think that laws are ideas.
More like guidelines, really. What about the Pirates Code?
Yeah. Anyways, philosophy is,
Yeah. Well, we always want, I think we bringing it around to where the rubber meets the road. In other words, what's going to make a difference when you start applying it? Instead of like talking about what's true and what's not true is all like a fun game until it gets to how are you going to get a job? How are you going to pay your bills? The thing when you start to care about the consequence, in other words.
Yeah, this is cool. So, let's do objects that are in contrast to each other, right? They pull up against each other. So, a lot of a thing there, and then the opposite thing against it. So, like this is what I'm always trying to do too. In my stuff is like use, and you say, don't be afraid of black. I love that because it's like, go all the way to black, go all the way to white.
Yeah, I like to. People do it in photos. I say, why not
use stuff that's very blurry? Use stuff that's very sharp and detailed.
Yeah.
use stuff that is in movement, use stuff that feels still, you know, like put things against each other as much as possible. Put opposite colors together, you know, put your highlights in front of your shadows, put your greens against your reds. You know, if you can just do as much of that as possible in a thing,
Yeah.
then you arrive at what I personally love to do. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool. That's great. Yeah, this is what we
Contrast.
got going on here.
Contrast. You know.
Maybe a David and Goliath theme. Maybe they say Yeti is going to confront an earthworm, perhaps.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. So let's adjust this a little. Let's say we got a little. Let's say we've got a little kitty cat right here. Okay. We're gonna put a big ear to make it a little kitty cat.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna put
the viewer high tech is making a big good guy versus bad guy painting at the moment.
Okay.
Good guy versus bad guy, you know, going with that like conflict of opposing things.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, good guy. But this is gonna be what was obvious, what really stood out to me in an obvious way was the contrast of little and harmless and big and potentially harmful.
Threatening, yeah.
Threatening, yeah. That's the word. Good word. Threatening. Okay. So you know, I want to add a sense of story. Like maybe this little character here is actually stuck in the tree, you know?
There you go.
Yeah, and it's like, did you come to save me or take
That's
advantage?
it. Small and
Yeah.
victimized.
Yeah.
and massive and in control.
What's gonna happen? Yeah. I need to make that bigger
Yeah.
so I can detail
And
it.
it's interesting, you know. This is interesting. I would say I find it more interesting than if there was like, you know, two little things just in that crack. If there were two little things in that crack, it wouldn't mean anything.
Yeah, right. Let's make a big tree trunk coming down here. Let's finish out the scene just a little bit. Get a tree like that. Okay.
Yeah, Adamar's got an idea that maybe the small is a bad one and the big is a good one. You know, we've got a
and I intuit
battle here.
I didn't even think about it when I was doing it. It was just like it just was instinctive. But I wonder if the pictures earlier kind of set me up to do it. I put this character in that last position that I drew. That was probably fresh on my brain. See, now the event takes place where the majority of the canvas is to this character. Like, you know, I did that whole setup. The arrival at the scene.
Yeah,
it just totally has that.
Yeah, you set up that little guy by first creating your big guy that was peering into the void, you know?
Yeah, that's it. Okay, well, we're going to put some detail on my little creature because if it's not cute, it doesn't get compassion. That's the problem with the world.
That's why little babies are so adorable, is because imagine if you had to deal with that and it was ugly. Can you imagine?
And they were ugly.
Twins were like Franken babies, you know, like
and if they sounded
symmetrical and blobby, like
they sounded terrible, it would make the job harder.
Like a sack of potatoes unformed when we come out, and then we don't like really become a human shape
until
like 5 years later.
There's an amount of cuteness that really is a grace that is given us in life so that it's a bearable task. You're like, it's a good thing you're cute, little person.
Yeah.
You know? And I was
thinking, is one of those Joe and one of those Ben? Which is
I'm not that.
That's
where we're going.
There you go, Dylan.
Definitely not going to be that. Okay, I'm going to use a little bit of translucency here. Shift it to yellow. Get some glow in the fur. A little bit of meaningful light glow.
Tyler suggests maybe it's that one time a turtle got stuck in a tree and Bigfoot came across it.
Dude, if that happened more than once, that's a different universe.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Or you could like add a bunch of the little guys, Mavis
Yeah.
suggests, and then it's like scary
Yeah.
for the big guy.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna put some lifelike shading. You know, if I put a good sense of glow, light has a magic to it, right, Ben? So if I add some, I want to really boost up the sense of caring about this creature. So if I make
Yeah.
the light hitting it in an attractive way, I feel like I enhance that natural instinct to care about it.
Yeah,
know?
yeah. You know, you can call out interest to a thing by just putting a light on it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to put an attractive light, not just a light, but in a light that kind of, hey, looking at it in an attractive light. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just a thing we say.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna put a light on a thing, you know, you might as well make it an attractive one.
Yeah. I just realized that's an actual saying that I never really put reasoning behind. You know,
Is what?
looking at something in an attractive light. You know, putting something.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
Is that a thing
Yeah,
we
yeah.
say? Is that a thing we say? Or did
Yeah,
I just
it
come
is.
up with
It is.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
favorable light.
Yeah. Yeah.
Goes
And so now
out.
it's kind of is making more of a physical sense to. I mean, just thinking of it in this sense. Okay, there's that hind leg kind of hugging around the tree branch. I want to make it hugging because I want the idea not to be commanded, but entertained that this creature might be stuck right here. So we'll start with.
And you know, distress reads a lot in the eyes too. I think.
So you're saying I need to really work on the eyes of this character to get this?
You'll want to allocate some real estate to eyes.
Okay.
If you want to communicate distress.
Boy, at this scale, that's going to be. We're going to try it. I'm going to see if I can do it. I think I can pull it off, actually. I think I can probably pull it off. We're going to put this is the other ear there in the back. We're going to put a little bit of light and shadow on that other ear. That eye is going to be right in that little socket. And we'll see if we can actually, here, an eye, right here. Let's put a little shadow in that ear while we're at it.
You know what's interesting, Joe, is that while you were sketching this up, before you started doing color or anything, and you were kind of putting these shapes together, and like the thing on the left was taking shape, and then this little guy, and then this tree.
Yeah.
The comment section was quite active at that exact moment of people wondering what was coming, right? They were all suggesting, oh, it looks like this, it looks like that. Oh, it's going to be this, it's going to be that, right? It's provocative, and it makes people engaged and curious about what is to come. And that is like the first scene of your movie, the opening shot of your commercial, the first impression of your painting.
Now you're switching the content. When you say you're just saying to one's
like as
commercial,
a person, as a creator, as a creative person, you know. I'm thinking through I'm analyzing through how you set up.
Yeah.
You know, the wide setup is so engaging. Like we've just done it organically here. The most engaged this audience has been was during the setup, right? Now they're just sitting here watching you painting something, thinking to themselves, oh, this is going to be cute and awesome because Joe's got a reputation and we're all set up here with this sketch. You know?
Let's see.
It matters, you know? And,
totally.
I think the more aware that a person can be of their tools and how they work, the more precise and accurate they can be with that tool. So you've got setup and payoff, you know, not to be a dead horse.
Right. That's good. I think so. Yeah, you're right. And I think this is the exact reason it's more fun to watch a scene be created than to spend time staring at the created. You know, we do both, but people are definitely willing to spend more time watching something be created.
Yeah, and and the beauty of it all, man, is that everything is always changing. So it's inherently beautiful. You know, it's inherently interesting. It's always changing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, right. Okay.
I've always felt like maybe it was more fun to get rich than to be rich. You know?
I agree with that
by watching it
100%.
happen
Yeah.
to other
Oh
people.
man. Yeah, that's a real good distinction. I agree with that completely. Yeah. Because what rich person says, I did it, I'm finished? You know?
Yeah.
Like who says that?
So it's that rate of change. It's that telling of the story that's the interesting bit, even for the person experiencing it.
Yeah.
You know, their own story needs to be engaging to them.
Yeah. You know, that's the problem with drugs too. You know, like you get under an influence and it was great getting there, but once you're there and you
Yeah.
realize this is it, and now I'm just going to come down. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what kills. That's
Yeah,
the part
or
that kills.
stuck. You know, your story's just looping and it's starting to just suck. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, you know, like the ability to develop contentment then kind of comes into play. Not that that's like so relevant to our art piece, but
Well, you know, the point being, it's the progression, it's the changing, the transient state of things that's interesting, and you know, that's
yeah,
why it's effective to have set up. You know, and
this is a squirrela bear, squirrela, squirrel koala.
we're all up.
Yeah, that's what this creature is. Squirrel koala. But unfortunately, it doesn't know how to climb very well.
Well, let's get out of the philosophical for a sec, Joe. Why did you choose yellow, red, brown, black?
Well, it was a quick quick road
White.
to believability without having further decisions made. I knew I could get a real quick translucent glow, get the light to look believable. Like I want light glowing through. Now it doesn't look especially illuminated on the white backdrop, but see, I'm going to change that. I'm going to change that so that we have the light. See these light colors. I implemented that. The reddest color to the yellowest color, going toward the yellow on the rainbow to get that kind of translucent thing, so that we're looking at this critter in a light that makes it look like it has a good role to play in nature, because the light is dancing off of its little translucent hairs. You know, like when you see a photo of your child and the sun's glowing through the backdrop and you see the glowing hair, and you're just like, that is a really special person.
I think I took a picture of your child in a moment such as that.
Yeah, it's funny. You know, it seems silly and shallow, but I mean, like, it totally sends that message. It's a real thing. All right. So we got some glowing fur now, like that, and we got our character in the tree. So now
Okay.
let's put some color in the backdrop. Let's say that we've got some. We don't need blue. I think I'm going to go with the greens in this one. We're going to put a foresty backdrop. Okay. Go like this, put some leaves, or you can grab some white, kind of make that glow. So if I bring this down here, I'm going to be careful around the edges right here. So we'll kind of carve out our character a little bit as we come down here. Come down to that glowing edge right there. Kind of even that out right there. Yeah, here we go. Put a few leaves, put a couple coming down close to it. You know, this is a backwards execution of a painting, for anybody wondering if I always work this way. I do frequently, but I don't recommend it if you're, you know, there's a motivation that comes into account here. I'm more interested in the experiment at the moment. So this kind of backwards execution of foreground and then background is fun for this design process. But obviously, it's not ideal as I'm trying to cut in the tiny little nose of this character. You know, let's go like this. Dab that in there, front ear, back ear. There, see what I mean? It's got a little bit.
It's definitely cute. I'm gonna give it.
Okay, just put a ball of fur with big eyes and a tiny face. That's what you do.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks. We whipped out cute. Okay. We're gonna put a background in here. Let's put a little bit of sky kind of glowing through the yellowest part, because that's what will make sense. Translucency. Shift toward the yellow as we approach the white. right there. Put some light coming through the tree like this. And this creature comes up and says, what have we here?
Should I eat it? Is it gonna bite me?
Yeah. Yeah. What's gonna happen? Yeah, I could make it scared, you know. What'd be fun is like we make this thing all startled and scared.
Or they're talking to each other about their investment portfolios.
Wow, that's terrible sounding. But it would be funny.
And the gorilla had a lot of money. And
it's coming to say it didn't work. You told me. You told me to put money in Bitcoin and it went down to half. And this little character's like,
bottom. Old gorilla sold at the bottom.
He's coming back. He's coming back for a little bit of confrontation. Yeah. Okay.
You told me that we were all going to go up in flames, man. I sold at the bottom.
I like how you did a good job of working out the voice on that character.
Well, it's his eyebrows that are doing it for me. I see eyebrows in that shape.
Oh, you're right. It is. Okay, let's work on it. Let's work on it. Okay. What color are we going to make this character? We're going to go a little bit. We'll add just a little touch of color to the face. You know, just a little touch, but mostly gray. And we're going to go like this. We're going to put the nose in here. We're going to put the mouth like this. Okay. Put the shadow right here. This is an important shadow right here. That's an expression shadow. So where I put that will really make a difference. Eye socket. I'll put that in place. Eye socket right here. Then we'll blend down to the cheeks.
Yeah. That's a face.
Hang on. Let me zoom that out. There we go. There we go. Right. So we need an ambiguous kind of expression so that we can wonder what is being
interpret. You gonna give him the Mona Lisa?
Well, maybe not. So
there is room for interpretation in the ambiguity.
Yeah,
what is
that's it? Yeah,
Mona
yeah.
Lisa?
Leave room.
Feeling.
Yeah, right. I don't like that picture. I'm not a fan.
Some stuff is just famous because it's famous.
That's it. Yeah, yeah. And I'm not saying it shouldn't be. I'm just saying I just don't enjoy it.
I mean, I can't paint that good, but I mean.
But you're not hanging it on your wall.
Yeah, it's not on my wall.
If it was as amazingly executed as people told it to be in art classes and universities, they'd be hanging it on their wall, you know?
Yeah.
But the truth is, none of us really like it that much. We're just supposed to like it. And so we just kind of jump.
Yeah.
It's the thing to like. That's how I feel anyway. I might be wrong. But...
You know, again, it's a story. People like stories.
Yeah. All right. Now we're going to put some of this on here. What is this character's eyes look like? We need a good, heavy brow.
See, now the story's changed. Now he's coming over like, oh, hey, Cliff, you mind if I borrow your monkey wrench? Hey, no jokes, okay? No pun intended. That's what it's called.
That was quick. That was very quick. Did you just come up with that on the fly? Wow.
Yeah. Like,
yeah. You're ready to be a dad. That was a dad joke, like full 9 yards dad joke. Hey, I'll tell you a trick with eyes. If you want something to look more animal, slope up the outside corners of the eyes. If you want something to look more human, then a little less slope. You know, the range of slope on humans is more level than animals. So see, like the slope is way up on this critter here. And, you know, and if I want this thing to look like in between human, animal, just a little tip on eyes is kind of fun. So I'll make it have a little bit more animal-like flair to it by taking those eyelids and sloping them like that.
Okay. Hey, Joe, do you want to take a break from your painting and check out what other people are doing?
Yes, I do. All right, we're going to put some color in the eyes, then we're going to take a break. Oh, yeah, nice. Okay, put a little bit of a sloped eyelid right here, right here. Da, 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 da. Put some of that. We're going to be done in a second here. And stop. Okay, right there. Let's see what other people are doing. What do we got here?
So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, this
like
is from
that.
Round Brush Steve. Boom, boom, boom.
Nice work, dude. That is really good. That is some great shape and anatomy work there.
There's something
Nice
going
one.
on here. I'm still trying to arrive at. We got a story. Good job. Round
Yeah,
Brush.
good job with story. Definitely. I don't know what it is, but definitely a sense of story there. Let's see. Reaching up, I see a hand grasping. What's the person
Yeah,
grasping?
so
A
we
hatch,
got
a
like
door hatch, maybe.
we got like some dripping off of a sharp blade here.
Oh, it's not grabbing a handle to a hatch. That's a blade.
We got
Downturned eyes.
some
Eyes
like
are
tranquility in our mood here.
Yeah.
In the midst of violent imagery, we got
Oh yeah.
No legs.
Self-hacking. It looks almost, or maybe it was a great escape.
There's a sort of peace in the self-mutilation, it seems, you know.
Wow, that's a crazy piece, man. Crazy,
Yeah.
but I like the lines.
Round Brush telling stories.
Dude,
all right, here's what else.
The style of that with lines and lines and lines is really fun to look at.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a nice one.
Check this out.
Where are we going, dude? This to me feels similar to the color experiments of last week live stream. That bright pink has the emphasis in the green. It's really fun to look at the blue and the green, but they are not as intense as that pink. So the pink takes the stage.
This one's Dylan.
Nice.
Good job, Dylan.
Beautiful, man. That is cool. That definitely gives me the sense of wonder. It gives me that, like, what's it like to be there? Where is it? You know, what's it like to be there? I love that sense in a picture. Yeah. Let's see.
Cool.
Let's give some.
We got.
What is that? Nice. Look at that box.
Trailer? It's like a trailer. Oh, it's like a
storage.
Oh, it's like a fifth wheel. The wheels are on the left and right. It's like a fifth wheel.
Is it? Is that what it is?
Yeah, this is looking straight back at it from the car's trunk POV.
Okay, cool. Wow.
So
wow, man, that's something to look at. Look at the look at the unusual color combination of what we expect to be like a leopard print or something, except that they're magenta on beige, yellowish. All right, man, that is wild. It's kind of camouflage. I'd say good job with your camouflage, but yeah, I'd be lying if I said.
Hey, we've seen this one before.
Hey,
we got progress. Look at those skin tones. I love these skin tones. Yeah,
dude. Yeah, John. That's John's. He is killing it on that picture, man. Little by little. This is his style. He likes to work in layers. He uses layers and layers, and it gradually gets things to a really beautiful look that way. Yeah, man, that is great. Beautiful work. I like how that's set up. You got the city in the back. Talking about a sense of being about something. This has like hometown sense of family and heroism all over.
Feels nice and cozy and warm.
Yeah, that's cool.
Over there at Flynn Law.
Yeah, that's real. I saw the photo. He showed me the photo reference. This is based off of it.
Yeah. So remember, guys, if you want to have us have a look at your stuff, there's a link in the description.
Send it in, man. It's awesome. Oh, I like that. I really like looking at the work.
Yep.
All right. How are we on time? We got.
Well, we've been at it for an hour.
So when we started late, 9:45, we got a little bit of time. I wanted to stop at 10, but I killed a little time at the start, so we can go a little later than 10. All right. So tell me if you got ideas of things to add to this here scene. We're gonna put an intimidating muscle structure on our character here. Let's put some
Okay,
shadow. Let's
okay.
put some
You
light.
know, yeah, that was the idea. You know, we want
Yeah.
extreme here. So if we got a
Yeah,
cute little
yeah.
fluffy
We
thingy, we want what's the opposite of cute? We want an ugly. We want not little,
Yeah.
big. So we want an ugly,
That's
big,
it. Yeah.
cute little,
Yeah.
not fluffy. We want it to be hard, an ugly, big, hard
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything that the other is not. And then we get something that, if nothing else, is interesting to look at. Right? Yeah, that's the idea. That's my if then setup.
Yeah.
That's where it helps me to make something worth looking at, as opposed to being the right way to compose a picture. As you know, there's a whole lot of different approaches out there. So we're going to use more grayish color. I'm not going to make this one like attractive blondie brown. You know, I'm really going to try to show the here. Let's put a little bit of muscle. Speaking of the harder look. I'll put some abs on this.
There you go.
Yeah, come on. What about that? Yeah, come on.
Ape is ripped.
So, let's do some of these. Some of these in here too.
Some Hulk Hogan in.
Yeah, I'm gonna put some fibrous muscles coming across the chest.
Now he's coming in.
Like
Hey,
this.
now he doesn't want Cliff power drill. Now he's like, hey, Cliff, I was wondering, did you happen to put any steroids in my banana farm, buddy? I've been noticing some changes, and I wanted to run it by you.
I noticed. That's good. Yeah, that's a good storyline. No.
And Cliff is like,
Yeah. You truly are a good storyteller. You know, you got names for the characters and everything.
Yeah.
That's good. You know, you gotta have that.
It's
You really
living,
do.
You know,
Yeah, you gotta have that leaning when you're in your business. You gotta be able to quickly.
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, to be serious, you know, I get paid to make stuff with cameras and people and places. So like I have to tell the people, like, what story are we trying to tell here? Like, why should an audience care? Like, we got people looking at a frame. Now what? You know? So like,
yeah,
I have to make it matter for them first so that they can live in that world, tell that story, and then it can matter to an audience. So it's the whole business, man. It's the framework is the story for sure.
Right. Okay. Let's put a bicep on this creature. This is something I love doing. You know, I don't know if you remember, Ben. I'm saying that sarcastically. I got a thing for muscles.
Dude, you ever seen the way a bicep vein bulges when you clench it? Just between the deltoid and the tricep.
Yeah, let's make it.
Oh man, that thing.
Let's make that happen. Yeah, let's make that happen. Let's put a little.
Man, there is a photo of
floating around the internet.
Yeah. Joe and his brothers all flexing as hard as they can, getting every vein in their skinny little bodies to bulge out as big as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, you were in that picture.
Nope, I wasn't, because I was not skinny with veins bulging.
You weren't in that? Dude, I got it wrong.
I was embarrassed inside because I was the keeper of more body weight than any of you.
Yeah, that is kind of a sad thing that put a stigma on you. Yeah, it's too bad. Unfortunate.
Hey, you know,
let's put that vein in there. You know,
we are because of the roads we've traveled.
We're gonna go. There we go. We're gonna put a vein in there. We're gonna have that. Let's blend it out a little.
Yeah,
boy, that's not
okay. So, you know, we're definitely feeling here, Joe, in the room that we have a friendly thing happening. You know,
it's friendly.
Yeah. And
okay.
so, like, maybe Blummer Drummer suggests that maybe big guys reaching out gently to the squirrel.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
maybe
Gently
there's
reaching out.
an ocean nearby. And
Okay.
who is it here that says, oh yeah, Blummer's a big fan of your waves. Maybe there's some waves out there.
Okay.
Paint some waves. Paint some waves.
Totally. Yeah, like the band that's trying to come up with new material and everyone just keeps cheering for the same old song.
Smells like Teen Spirit. Smells like Teen Spirit.
Oh man.
You're just like, oh my
He's
God.
like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore.
What have I done?
Yeah.
We'll smash it all.
Yeah. Come on. He's like, people wondering why he's smashing his guitars.
Don't shut up.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna overstate these trapezoid muscles. Right.
When you're so buff that your traps make you a triangle, that is an awesome amount.
Yeah, we're gonna go way up. You know what? I just decided that enough is not enough. No, we're not stopping there.
No, do more.
No, yeah, we're gonna keep going. See, this is the head. The head's got to go up. We're not gonna give him a big forehead because we can't be having that thing look like he likes to sit around and do math. We're gonna go.
Dude. He's got real energy.
Come on. This is the trapezoid muscle right here. It's way up here. Top of the head. It's going way up there. We're overstating it. Yeah.
Yeah, Round Brush, they don't like to play their same songs over and over every night, I guess, for years on end. It's weird.
Yeah.
These things work. Imagine if that was your job, dude. Imagine if your job was to go somewhere and stand on a little rectangle in front of thousands of people that are all going to scream at you to do the exact same thing you did last night.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the night before, and the night before, and the night
Man.
before. And you're exhausted.
It's lost its magic. The song was cool when you wrote it, and you were like, everyone's going to love this. And now
nobody, not one of these 10,000 people actually cares about you. They're just screaming at you to do it again. Do it again. You know what I mean?
And you can hear person after person warn you that fame is like that. You'll just hear it said over and over like it.
There's no question. That's how.
And then everyone keeps trying to have that life. Yeah. Isn't that weird? Like, what is it? This is broken. This is like a broken piece of it.
Yeah, it's a magnet to which so many are drawn.
Yeah. You know what?
The desire to be that person of which, everyone commands again. I
know it's all to have that moment. It's like you're willing to have a miserable life so that you can be the next person to have that moment. And I'm not even putting myself above it. I'm just saying it's like this strange trait that we've got. Not everybody, maybe performers, maybe natural inclined performers deal with it more.
I'm a dancing clown. I'm a performer. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, you and I are kind of like inherently after the moment to show off.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, look at this tree, look at this cool thing.
Hey, check this out. Hey,
look at this. Yeah,
hey, dude,
exactly.
How about you can't do this?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's give this thing a. We got our Bigfoot walking up to the cute thing. And so we're going to put a hand right here like this. We got to put a giant hand too. We have to kind of over.
Forearm is looking awesome.
Thanks, brother.
It's all about that. Falls into body goals.
Yeah.
Imagine if your forearm did that when you clenched a fist.
The thing is,
you can silence a room. You can silence a room. Just walk in and go.
Yeah. And these Sasquatches, they don't even have to try. You know what I mean? Like they don't know what they have. You know, I just feel like there needs to be some appreciation on their end. I just want the Sasquatches of the world to be thankful. They're always like rating properties and just focusing on what they don't have. But I just want them to be thankful that they're blessed with this amazing physique. You don't even have to try. There we go.
I sense a little jealousy in your tone. You don't even have to try.
They don't. They don't have to try. I got to do a million
Fair.
push-ups. And you know what happens when I do a million push-ups? I get skinnier. I get skinnier. My body fat goes down. That's what happens. That's what happens when I do a whole bunch of push-ups.
Yeah. Well, you know, so it is provocative here now as you're making this super muscular arm, you know, that looks like it can, you know, bend steel rods and make oatmeal out of flesh and bone.
It's gonna do all that.
Juxtaposes very interestingly against that little fluffy squirrel. I gotta say, it's provocative. Like, let's hear some ideas. Oh, this is a creative room. I know it. Anybody? What's the relationship between these two here? What do we got? It's suggestive.
Set it up. You know? Well, and environment has a role to play in that.
Yeah, and where are they?
Like,
what's going on? Yeah, exactly. You know, this is how you tell any story on moving pictures or this canvas. You need a place. You got.
Let's talk about
what's it about. You know.
I think it's fun to talk about things that left like a sour. That wasn't a good story. You know, the series, the TV series. One of the list of disappointments for me was the TV series Lost. I got way into that. Into it. We were good
for being such a letdown.
I felt
spoilers ahead.
I'm not going to say it was, you know, I don't even think I have the ability to explain the totally unrelatable ending they threw at us at the end. It was just the relatability factor was gone. You know, like it just was so weird, like someone's wild idea of a somewhat spiritual, somewhat theoretical, like it's just out there, just an out there idea that and like the reason we engaged in the show was that sense of
the setup was so solid.
It was like all these characters. Yeah, you know, it's just was all about these characters. They got, you know, agendas. They each got their agenda and what's going to happen when, as the attention's mounting in this place, and is it going to be the end of the world? Are they really on the? There was these great questions that were added up, and then in the end, it was kind of like the quintessential. And then they woke up because it was all just a dream. You're like, what?
Easy way out.
In other words, funding kind of got limited.
Well, you know what it was? I would say if I have to just chew on that and see why that tastes really bad to me, I think it's because it feels like quitting.
It does.
You know,
it does indeed.
It feels like the creator, like if you go through a setup that's really powerful, you have conflict and you have an urgency in your audience to see a thing be different than the way that it is. You know, they hope for a thing to happen. They want a thing to happen.
Yeah.
That's when you've done a setup well. You know, they're attached to a storyline, a person, a thing, and they're like, I hope for this person, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And then if you just if you just, when it comes time for your payoff, if you just bail, you know, and you just have it not pay off in an interesting way, you just say, well, it was all a dream, you know, or dead the whole time, you know. It's like, oh, okay. So you just walked out on me, you know.
I'm done. Thanks for the views, everybody.
Like, why am I still watching your thing if you walked out on me? You're not even in here trying.
Exactly.
Anymore. Why am I sitting around wasting my time on it? You know.
You feel disrespected. You feel like your investment
hours back.
I deserve better. Yeah, but that is a real feeling. You know, you just kind of feel disrespected. I decided this snout needs to be a little more protruding because it'll look a little more. So I'm scooting it over to the right because of the angle I've got this thing set up.
Mm.
A little bigger on the nostril. There, see, I boosted the snout out. Yeah, and now it's not quite as there's some talk going on.
Yeah.
You know, I want to tell you, those of you that are not familiar, I want to tell you, when you hear the talking come from this fellow, this is what we call the samurai chatter. It's a real thing. You got to look up the Sierra sounds if you're interested in, if you haven't gone down that road before. Sierra sounds are awesome. Such a fun thing.
Sierra sounds.
Yeah, you got to look up Sierra sounds for the Bigfoot world is has a lot of really cool food for thought, like some really cool videos and audio clips. People just don't like being made fun of, and so it gets shared within that realm.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Mavis says it's interesting how changing the facial expression changes the story possibilities.
It does indeed. Thank you.
Like maybe the squirrel's financial advisor. Maybe what else do we have here? We have Mavis is saying maybe he's about to do the old bait and switch and eat the squirrel coming in all nice.
Yeah, you don't know. Yeah, you don't know. You don't know.
Hey, I was just saying what's like.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. Yeah, and trustworthiness.
Hey, you know which way it is to the waterfall?
Yeah. Okay. We're having too much fun with this. That's what might happen.
Provocative, man.
Or is he saying, "Hey, you need help, little brother? You need help? You get stuck again?"
We'll assume good intentions. It's nice to move through the world assuming good intentions.
Yeah, definitely a happier vibe.
Yeah,
man, I had the happy vibes today. I had it. Does it happen to you sometimes where you're just like, where you get up in the morning and you're like, oh man, the chemicals are right? You know what I mean? You have days like that?
Yeah, that's usually a good time to make stuff and write stuff down because you're going to want to remember that happens, when you're on the other side of that coin.
Yeah, you're like, remember the good day I had?
Right. This storm is like gray and depressing, but I do recall this thing called sunshine, and I'm pretty sure if I just like get through this, I'll still experience some sunshine.
Right.
So it's good to write it down. It's good to make stuff, share it, talk about it when it's good.
Yeah. I had to get away from doing art for inspiration's sake in order to turn it into a useful living, because you can't rely on that. You know what I mean? Like you can't just get up the next day and have all of that inspiration be there. I tried it a few times. I was like, well, this isn't going to happen. I was trying to like make stuff that I might sell in a gallery, trying to get some just creative ideas on canvas. And I would just lose that inspiration as fast as it came. It was way too much of a moving target,
Mm-hmm.
So I had to study patterns is what happened. I was like, well, I'm gonna paint what this customer wants, and I'm just gonna systematically make it by knowing how to generate what they're after. So that was like the switch I had to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you're the bearer of a skill set,
Yeah. Well, there was a motivation change. Like the skill set, I was seeking the skill set of tuning in deeply to what I wanted to express. That was the motivation to acquire the skill set at the beginning, and then what happened was that switched to the I need to learn how to figure out what they're looking for and what the patterns are that make it, so that there what maybe what started working so well in that transition was that there wasn't failure. There wasn't like, oh, it's gone, I can't get it back, it's there was always the next day, the next um, chance to pursue the answers that I was after. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't about my feeling. It didn't rely on how I was feeling, I guess.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's a volatile endeavor if your feelings are your structure.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's absolutely something that like I am in the midst of trying to sort is, to be guided by the way you feel is mandatory as you make stuff. But that's a place to navigate life from. It is not the only place, nor is it always the most reliable place to navigate from this world of feeling.
Yeah.
They change, they shift. So it's an interesting thing. That being said, Susan has an interesting point here and says, simply, let's have a happy ending. And I just think there's virtue in that. I think if you can tell a story, it's fun to tell one with a happy ending.
Man, yeah, like we don't need to reinvent that wheel. Yeah, totally.
Let's say nothing really matters. Anyone can see that nothing really matters to me.
That's not very happy.
So if nothing matters, then it's stories we're telling ourselves about ourselves, and that's really it, right? So if that's the case, then right, as we were talking, if you take approach A, then you have response B. Just make it a happy ending, because that's great. It feels good. It's encouraging. It causes hope.
Yeah. Okay. All right, that makes sense.
Hey, welcome to the party, Jet Set Jay from Seattle and Lisa Joe.
Okay, cool. Good seeing you. Good seeing you guys out there.
So speaking of happy endings, we are at about that point in time.
That's it. We got to quit.
Joe's going to be wrapping things up
here.
Yeah.
Who was it that wanted to wave? Now
we're going to get started on the ocean.
Now we're going to
intermission.
Remove. Well, this is where we begin to remove meaning and sense of story from the picture by putting randomness in. Yeah. There is an amount. You give too much story and it's like, okay, great. I get it. I see exactly what's going on.
Yeah. Well, think of it like music. If you have a sound, you have a voice, a soloist. It's interest on that soloist. If you have a chorus, or if you have a room full of people all talking about different things, you have white noise. You have no reason to care.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good distinction.
It's just there is too much and there's very little. So like. It's a tool.
Yeah.
How busy? Yeah. How many stories? How? What are you trying to say? What are you trying to do? Like you can't say everything. I run into this a lot in my stuff. Like everybody wants to say their piece. It's like, well, you got to separate what you want for what is best for this thing.
Yeah. We got this product, and we got to figure out what its mission is.
Yeah, that's when money is involved in art. That's how it changes.
Yeah. Which is kind of a catch-22 because it has a way of making sure results happen, but then in the same breath compromises the integrity of the results.
Yeah. But I just therefore, like you, I develop a dispassionate relationship with outcomes.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Because it's like, it's not really my baby anyways. It's not my unique handprint. It's a product of a lot of people and a lot of politics and a lot of compromises.
Yeah. So don't get overly invested in
Yeah,
that.
so,
Yeah.
you know, you get to do a fun thing with your life. Mission accomplished. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. So what's our story now?
All right.
Now the legs are.
Yeah. The short legs are a thing. They're causing curiosity out here in the room. Why the legs? What's up with the legs? Is it quicksand? Is it green water? Is it a river full of blood and algae? Is it wading
swampy.
through a river full of?
It's very swampy.
Is it underlit? Did an alien ship
What?
land in the water and fragment into a bunch of red light coming from underneath a green river?
And did he get tricked? He came over there, look, and he's like,
and the squirrel's like, man, I can't get out of this tree because this water doesn't look trustworthy. And ape's like, hey, man,
wait,
like it doesn't burn yet, so I think it's probably safe, you know.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna put the reflection. I'm gonna put the reflection of legs here so that we know that this. Let's make it clear that this thing is in fact standing in there.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. Round Brush says the methane lake giving him visions.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, hey.
Hey, do the colors around here start looking real weird to you?
Yeah. Look how much fun.
Water.
Look how much fun we have when the story is not told. You know what I mean? It's like when the existence of the story is there, but it's not. There is something to be said for this type of work. It is a type of work because art can have many different missions, right? I mean, a mission might be to tell a very distinct story, but look how fun it is when we don't have that story all lined up for us.
Yeah, it's the imagination
speculate.
And the suggestiveness, you know, that capture us.
Yeah. I think that's
all right,
cool.
Well, pretty cool, man. Everybody
time to
out
go.
There.
It's good time to go. We have to call it. We're out of time. I'm just putting my last little edges.
Hey, Joe's gonna finish this up real quick. In the meantime, last call for your stuff. If you want to have Joe look at it, dump it in that link in the description of this video right now.
That's it. Yeah.
Wait.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. We've got the little critter. We've got the giant beast right here. And we don't know what's going on.
A 3D branch, just like that. A 3D branch. Boom.
Yeah. We don't know what's going on. We just know that something is, you know. Yep. He's like saying, oh, these leaves, I got to have another. Wait. What is that? You know, there's all kinds of stuff that could be happening. Wait, who's watching?
Gorilla's like, hey man, I think there are piranhas in this water. My legs itch. I think there's piranhas in here. Hey, I'm feeling lightheaded.
No, you just and this little smart character, you know, you just got to stay in a little longer. That passes. Yeah. Trust me, it's worth it. Yeah. Here, let's complete the background. Oh, mystical steam in the background.
Oh, mystical steam?
Yeah, we got. So I didn't intend to do it quite that shade, but it ended up looking kind of foggy. You know.
Hey, we got one last one from Round Brush, Joe, and then we're gonna get out of here. Check this out.
Let's see it. Nice, beautiful work, dude. The texture in that is something else, my friend. That was very cool. I like that texture. Let me full screen that in here.
We got a little thing happening, a little person on the rock there.
Dude, nice. Look at that. Wow. You know, texture adds to me. Texture, fine texture like that does that very thing. It adds a sense of story. It doesn't tell the story. It just adds a a sense of story. There's something about texture that's like the kind of lens you're looking through. You know, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you're looking at something through a textured window, and it affects the whole image. It adds a vibe. So, you know, like so I always enjoy something that's carefully textured.
Yeah.
Cool. I like the cross hatching in it. Nice work, dude. That's nice. Perspective on that ship looks awesome. High
all right.
contrast.
Well, that's all from me, Joe. I'll let you.
That's it, man. We're out. We're out. That's the whole thing. Ben, thanks for your help again. You know, you're the star of the show. You've become the main host. It's like I'm trying to get my image to be as big as yours, so it feels. This is the Mural Joe show, and this is my little brother. Right?
Yeah.
That's better. Now that's what I'm talking about. Hey,
I can't help it if my camera fills in more screen.
You want to keep this job, Ben? All right. Hey, it's good seeing everybody. I hope that was as fun for you as it was for us. It was a good time. So we'll keep you posted if we're not going to do this live next Saturday. I'll at least post something that's pre-recorded. I'm posting things every Saturday morning. So come back 8:30 on the same channel. We'll see you. All right.